I will be reviewing Best Man Final Chapters. Now, as you know, Best Man Final Chapters came out on December 22nd. And the show is an 8-episode limited series. It is featured on Peacock. It has all the supporting characters and all the main characters are back. And they're going to be filming. They filmed 8 episodes. Today we're going to be going through four out of the 8, and I'll post another video of the other 4 videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. There'll be another video that will feature the other 4 episodes right after this one. Okay? So the main cast is Shelby, who is played by Melissa D'Souza, Nia Long, who is playing Jordan. We have Tate Diggs, who is playing Harper. Lawrence, what's his name? Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard, who is playing Quentin, or Q, in the show. We have Sanaa Lathan, who is playing Robin. And we have Regina Hall, who's playing Candy. And last but not least, we have Harold Purnell, who's playing Murch. Now, in the first episode, it opens up with like a recap of Best Man 1 and Best Man Holiday. As you know, in the Best Man 1, we're going through Lance's wedding. And Lance is also played by Morris Chestnut. I forgot about him. But it's Lance's wedding in the first movie, and he picks Harper to be his best man, without knowing that Harper actually slept with his wife back in college. And he didn't know that when they were, I guess they were broken up, and he didn't know that they had slept together. And Harper has the bright idea to write a book about it, a book about sleeping with his best friend's wife. Fiance at the time, writes a book about it. He changes the names, of course, and Lance, being the good person that he is, he never read the book until one night he read the book, and then he realized the similarities between the characters and Harper, and he you slept with Maya. I believe her name's Maya in the movie. I have to look again, but I believe her name is Maya. Not Maya, Mia. You slept with Mia. Oh my gosh, you slept with Mia? Why did you? And you know, they go through this whole thing. They fight and all this stuff, and it puts them in a weird place before the wedding. They end up making up, and he ends up going to the wedding. Now, in Best Man Holiday, they meet up again, and they have this type of retreat kind of thing, like before. I don't think it was even like it wasn't a wedding involved. It was just like a holiday retreat type thing to meet up again as friends. Like, they gathered together again, and they all came together, and they looked like they rented a house, and they had this like little moment right before Mia had died. Mia was diagnosed with cancer, and she wanted to tell everybody in a safe space, so she decided to invite them along to this retreat. She wanted to be happy right before she died. She had decided that she was happy dying, and that she was okay with it, and that it was time. So she invited them all along for her last days, basically, to let her know, just for them to see her last days, and that she was happy and that she was okay with dying. Of course, Lance was not okay with that. That's his wife. He loves that. He loves her. And they had I think they had 4 beautiful children. I believe only 3 of them was featured in the limited series. And I believe only 3 of them was featured in the limited series. So I might go over the children a little bit, because they are involved in the movie. Not the movie, in the television series. Well, I'm gonna consider it a movie, because in entirety, I feel like that could have been a 2-hour-long movie. But I guess limited series are more popular nowadays, because a lot of people are doing them. Netflix does them, and Paramount does them. A lot of streaming networks do it. So, as I mentioned, the 8-episode series is on Peacock. Peacock is the streaming network service that also features Bel Air, And if you guys want me to do a review on that, let me know down in the comments, and I'll gladly go back and watch it and redo it and document it for you guys, because I really did love that show. But now back on to this. Okay, so it opens up with a recap of the two movies that we just discussed, Best Man and Best Man Holiday. Then we go into, in this episode series, we're going over Quentin's wedding, because if you remember, at the end of Best Man Holiday, there was a, like, Harper had given birth to, Harper and his wife Robin had given birth to their daughter Mia. They named the baby Mia after his best friend's wife's dying of cancer, just to honor her. They named her Mia. After she gave birth, after Robin gave birth, I believe it was, I think it's Quentin, and not who receives the call. I think it's Lance who receives the call. Either Lance or Harper receives a call from Quentin stating that I'm getting married and I want Harper to be best man. Of course, Harper is the best man. He's always best man. But anyway, so in this particular series, Quentin is getting married. Now, of course, if you watched Best Man 1 and 2, you would assume that he is going to get married to Shelby, because they always end up together. But of course, he's not getting married to Shelby. He's getting married to this social media star. She's an actress, singer. They call her the Unicorn, and she's played by none other than Nicole Ari Parker. Now, this is amazing because Sanaa, Nicole, and Taye Diggs were in a movie called Brown Sugar. So it was kind of like the Brown Sugar sequel that we never got for me, because I was like, when they had that scene in Harlem, I'm about to go off topic a little bit, but when they had that scene in Harlem, it kind of reminded me of Brown Sugar a little bit. But anyway, so we see Nicole come in, and she comes in, and she's considered the unicorn of the social media circuit. And I guess because she can do everything, and it's kind of weird that she can do everything, I guess, because it's not a woman. Most women can have it all. So I guess she's that woman that can have it all. And and she's like a spiritual woman, and that kind of rubs off on Quentin a little bit. So we see a different side of Quentin in the first episode. We see him as like this type of Zen god or something, and she's like the goddess to his Zen, and it's just like a weird transition for us as a viewer, and for Harper, apparently, because Harper is the only one that notices that Q is acting different, and not good different, but weird different. Like, she has done something to this man, and everybody else is like, no, he's in love. Love changes people, and I'm like, I'm with Harper. I don't think love changes you that much. I feel like you stay the same a little bit and you change a little bit for the best or something like that. But I don't believe that love should change you that much, But anyway, so Harper is not for this. He don't like any of this. Like, the woman, she comes in and she has like this sage. She's blessing the room, and I feel like it's who is it that has a coughing fit? I think it's like. No, it's Harper. It's Harper. I think, no, actually it's Robin. Robin says she's allergic to sage or something like that. And, Nicole, kind of like, she brushes it off like, you're allergic to sage. Nobody's allergic to sage or whatever. But, that was a very interesting moment for me. Like, Nicole brought in like this type of freshness to the cast. It was very, very like you could tell from the cast, like you could tell that they were all longtime friends, because they just had, the energy was just flowing correctly through the scenes and everything. Everything was just right. Malcolm Dealey, you did something. You did something in that first episode. I learned a lot in that first episode. We see that when it gets to the part where Shelby walks in at the end, because she just comes in, she just found him. Like, she has a tracker for Quentin. Like, nobody told her where the wedding was going to be. She wasn't invited to the retreat that they're meeting. This is their first time meeting. I think her name is Ziamara in the movie. This is their first time meeting Ziamara. And I thought it was weird that they're like close time friends and they've never met this woman that he's about to marry. Like, that to me didn't seem right. Like, if you're friends with somebody, you talk about this woman, but it seemed like no one knew about who this woman was. Like, we just knew that he was like getting married. Like, she has convinced him that he is ready to settle down, you know? Like, something has transpired inside of him. But anyway, so we get to the point at the end where Shelby walks in. I'm like, how did Shelby figure out where he is? Of course, he knows where he is, you know? In the beginning of the episode, I skipped over this, but in the beginning of the episode, there was this thing with Andy Cohen. Like, you know how he does that What Happens live show, whatever. And, you know, Shelby's supposed to be like this Real Housewives person. So they were doing an episode with her. And they ran a clip of when she found out that Quentin was getting married. And, of course, she goes off the handle. And they caught it all on tape. And she literally got to Quentin's office and almost tried to kill him because she was so upset that he was getting married, and he didn't tell her that he was getting married. Like, he did not tell her at all. She had to find out on Andy Cohen's. Well, she had to find out by somebody else. I don't think he told her. I feel like Jordan told her, or yeah, I feel like Jordan told her because Jordan is her best friend. But anyway, so when Shelby shows up, everybody's surprised. Quentin, of course, isn't surprised because he expected her to come. I don't know why he just didn't invite her all together, but he probably didn't want any drama. So when she shows up, the dynamic changes. Anyway, and Nicole does this thing where she pretends not to know who Shelby is. So she's calling her Shelly the entire time until this one point where she's just like, I know who you are. I've always known who you are. And I got him now. You can feel like you've won or something, but I got him now. And I'm like, wow. And I was like, you know what? That's why I got respect for Nicole. That's why Nicole is always my favorite person. But so we get down to the point of, like, you know, Shelby making like a fool of herself in the second episode, you know, because this is his bachelor party. You know, we're seeing only Quentin's side of the situation for the first two episodes, and this is his bachelor party. So Harper is the best man. He's the best man. He's supposed to run the bachelor party, but he gives it off to Murch because Murch feels like he should be the best man. Throughout the first two episodes, Murch is vying for being the best man because Quentin low-key does love Murch, but I feel like he feels like Murch doesn't have the time and the energy to put all of it into being the best man. Harper knows how to be a best man. He was the best man last time, so I feel like he feels like it was only right that he be the best man this time because he knows how it goes. He knows what they're supposed to do and everything else, and he knows how to hand off the task to important people. So Mark entertainment last time, if you remember correctly, in the first one, he was in charge of the entertainment last time, and he had married his wife Candy, which was the stripper from the first, one of the strippers from the first movie. So obviously he knows how to pick good people. So so of course Murch, you know, he attacks this bachelor party the same exact way. He hires some strippers. And in the process of hiring these strippers, he also orders some favors for for Quentin. Now I've mentioned that Quentin has changed a lot. So Quentin doesn't do the trees anymore, if you get what I'm saying. So he gets these favors that are filled with trees, and he's like, oh, I don't do that no more. I don't do that no more. So you need to put those away. And you know, so Merge tries to return it, and of course you can't return those types of treats and favors for people. You can't return those. So of course he has to keep them, and you know, they use them throughout the show, and it's pretty funny. But that comedic balance, I loved it. I loved how Malcolm was able to capture that on screen. A lot of the original improv moments that Tay did, and a lot of the original Tay moments that Merch did. It was very interesting to see that on screen. If you've watched Tay Diggs on TikTok, you can tell he's naturally funny because there are certain points that you could know that, like, I feel like Malcolm didn't write this in there, but I feel like he was okay with it that Tay did it, you know. But anyway, so with Q and Shelby, she shows up to the bachelor party, because she convinces Candy to help her get her man back. So she shows up at the bachelor party, does a little strip tease for him, and Quentin, he falls for it. He sleeps with her, and he ends up like contemplating on whether or not he should actually get married to Ziamara. Like, is he ready? Is he really ready? His dad is telling him that if he marries Ziamara, he can he can trust him with the company that he has. Because Quentin is a businessman. He's a real estate mogul. And his father, he owns a lot of properties, and one of the properties in the hotels that he owns is where they're going to be getting married. So him getting married there with Ziamara is a way to promote the hotel. So him not getting married to Ziamara would kind of look bad on the about the hotel, and he was like, I need you to marry her. Like, she's good for you. She's changed you. You're a better man because of her, or whatever. All Shelby does is bring drama, and she ruins it for you. So what ends up happening is Ziamara shows up at the cabana. Before this, Shelby had told him to meet her at the cabana at 1 a.m. And instead of him showing up, Ziamara shows up. Now, I knew she was going to show up because I could just kind of tell how it was going to go. But she shows up, and she tells her, this is where she tells her that I have him. You can sleep with him whenever you want to, but he's always going to come home to me. And then she's like, she says something about her daughter, what kind of example are you setting for your daughter if this is the way you're going to act? Like, you can continue to have this power play over him, but you need to stop. So eventually, I believe Shelby just kind of like comes to this realization that Quentin has like moved on, and there's nothing she can do. So she calls her daughter, and her daughter sees her crying, and she's like, "Why are you crying, Mom?" and all that stuff. And and she's like, "Why are you crying? You deserve to be happy like Q is." And she's like, "I am happy. I'm happy. I'm happy that he did find someone." And I'm like, wow, maybe she has changed. So Ziamara did say that she bought a ticket for her to go home, and that the ticket information was in her phone. And she was like, "How you got my phone number?" And she's like, "Girl, I know everything. I'm like, I feel like she read his phone, yo. She went through his phone, and she got the number and everything. But anyway, so we get to the point where she's like, I'm gonna go. She packs up her stuff. She gets ready to go. She goes to the airport, and it's morning. So Terrence Howard, Quentin, he like, I'm stressed out. Like, come on now. Where is Shelby? A bush. She better pop out a bush somewhere. Like, where is she? Where's Shelby? And they're like, Shelby has, she gone. Like, we told her to leave. She left. Ain't that what you wanted? And he's like, she left. She don't leave. That woman gonna pop somewhere. Like, she's not gonna leave me. So they run to the airport. They rush the airport, which is really, really not realistic. But they rush the airport. It looked like she's just chilling. Like, she ain't got nowhere to be. She's just chilling, reading a magazine. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden, when they get there, the intercom goes off. They're here or whatever. The little intercom. The little airport intercom, telling them that the plane is ready, and it's in the what they call that, a runway, whatever. It's in the runway. It was waiting for you. So we get there. Quentin basically tells her that he loves her. And it goes through this whole thing. And they get married instead of him and Ziamara. They end up getting married because she accepts the. Well, I feel like that should have been done from the beginning. It shouldn't have been all this drama to get to this. But I understand you wanted to create that type of experience for us to see on screen. So we get to the point where we try to explain, like, when it gets to the point where we try to explain what happened to Ziamar, because they kind of brush over what happened to Ziamar. They just kind of do like when they're kissing, they go into the wedding. And I'm like, wasn't Ziamar, like, there? So what happened? Like, I know she can just leave quietly. Like, this is Nicole we talking about. Like, I imagine there's some type of fire in her. So, like, speaking of fires, this is what basically happens. She, like, burns down the cabana. Like, there's like a waiting to exhale moment on the cabana. I was like, really? Like, I feel like that part could have been like, I would have loved to see like what she said versus what she did, and what she did at the end of the day. Like, I would love to see that. Like, if she had put some clothes or something inside that cabana as well. But that's just me. Um, anyway, so we get to episode, I believe it's episode 3. At the end of the episode, the end of episode 2, we learn that Q is actually Kennedy's father. Now, I already knew this. I already knew that Q was Kennedy's father. I knew that from my best man Holiday. I could tell that when they were sitting at the table together, putting together that little gingerbread house. I was like, that's his daughter. That is his daughter. And she was going to, I feel like she was going to tell him in that movie, but I feel like it wasn't the right time. So she didn't tell him. She decided to let them deal with Mia and dealing with losing Mia. And she probably just was like, I'll tell him another time, but just not now. And I feel like that was why she was, I feel like that was mostly the reason why she was mad. Because if you remember from the first Best Man, she actually had gotten pregnant, and from that one night stand, and she already had the baby in Best Man Holiday. And I was like, the math kind of adds up for a movie. You know, the movie math adds up. So it only makes sense that Kennedy would be Quentin's daughter. So, you know, Quentin, you know, he kind of accepts it. You know, he's like, I don't want to be a bad stepdad. And then she's like, how about her real father? Because you are her real father. And, you know, he was like, okay, Miss Caller, let's go ahead and tell her the news. And I guess they tell her the news. In episode 3, they kind of go over like a montage of what happens in the real world and what happens on set. So basically, they go over COVID, they go over the Black Lives Matter movement, they go over our presidents changing, they go over everything and kind of like connect it to the storyline. So with that, because of, I think it was, what's her name? Candy and Merch. Candy has like this spiritual awakening, had a spiritual awakening at the retreat that they had for Quentin's wedding. So, like I mentioned before, Xiomara was very spiritual. So she did like this ayahuasca ceremony thing. You guys can look that up later. I'm probably not spelling it right. It's called ayahuasca. It's like I believe it's like a tea, a healing tea that kind of like opens your chakras or something. So she has like this spiritual moment while she was there, and she really liked how after the ceremony it kind of made her feel relaxed, opened her mind to a new way of looking at life. So she decided to go ahead and study herbal medicine and get her doctorate in holistic healing, basically. Um, so that is what she's trying to do, get her doctorate in holistic healing. And what ends up happening is that a lot of people don't really believe in holistic healing. They believe it's just an excuse to do drugs. I'm on the fence on that because I'm a psychology major, and I'm on that. I believe in holistic healing, but then I don't. You know, it just depends on the situation. I believe drugs affect people differently depending on their immune system and their brain activity. I believe it depends on that. But I believe in any type of like treatment as long as it doesn't harm the person. So anyway, she's dealing with trying to convince people that holistic healing is the right way to go when you're dealing with a lot of stress, and that's really hard for her to get across. She what happens? Her husband understands her. He supports her. He supports her in her dream and everything. So we're done with that. With Robin and Harper. Robin was, this is where we get to the part where they bring up unfinished business again. His agent pitches him the idea that they have They want him to do a movie. They want an unfinished business to become a movie, a real life movie. So he's like, his first book, like by now he's probably written like 4 or 5 books. He's like, why are they just not wanting us to do a movie? It's been like however many years. So they did him. He gets the okay from everyone. In the first episode, he gets the okay from everyone. Lance says it's okay as long as he gets like control over who plays Mia, which is understandable. You want her to be looked at, and her kids will be watching it, so you kind of want to make sure she's played correctly by the right person. So of course, the movie, it's in the works. That's what they're doing. Now for Robin opens up a restaurant during the pandemic. She opens up a restaurant of her own, like a little small, kind of like a small kitchen restaurant type thing. It's like a hole in the wall, basically. Like, it doesn't have a lot of space or anything. She wanted to make sure it was for the community or whatever. So because the thing is with Robin's character, she had like she met somebody on the beach. Now when I saw this little scene in the first episode that she met somebody on the beach, I was thinking other things. Because I was like, wait, are we gonna have a moment in this episode where like Robin decides to decides to figure out if she wants to be with Harper, like after all these years? Like why do we have this person? But it's just basically a part where she sees like this woman on the beach and she's cooking for the people on the beach. Like basically has like a little stand of her own, and she loves what she's doing. And she's like, Robin's like, this is something she wants to do. She wants to change the world little by little by with food, and to help heal others. So what ends up happening is after that, so that's where she gets the idea to do Robin's Nest is the name of the restaurant. And then what happens? Okay, so I believe what happens is with Shelby and Quinn. Shelby had created her own brand, and she's used her social media after she left the Housewives. She created her own brand called Shelby. Shelby has started her own brand called SheLB. Basically, I believe they sell like eyelashes, weave, and all that stuff, like stuff like that. So she created her own brand, and then after she created her own brand, Quentin got like full ownership of his father's company. His father gave him like full ownership of that company so that he could give him more responsibility. So his father, he's going through his own thing. His father's getting old, and he has like this moment where he falls. Like he doesn't fall in the scene, but he fell before, and he has like a cast on his hand. And his father does not like the thought of him getting old. He doesn't believe that he's getting old. He just is not okay with it, as most people are. And speaking of getting old, everyone in this cast has not cracked at all. It's amazing. They look exactly the same as from the first movie to this movie now. They look exactly the same to me. Anyway, probably maybe a couple of people say they can see their age, but not I. Maybe just Terrence Howard, but other than that, everybody looks basically the same. And maybe Merch. Yeah, Merch and Terrence. You can tell a little bit of the age, but everything else perfect. Other than that, we get down to the part where that's basically it for episode 3. Now episode 4, let me because I'm not really sure what happened at episode 4. I'm really proud of myself that I actually was able to get through 3 episodes without looking in this book. We'll get to episode 4. Episode 4. And at the end of episode 3, Lance kind of goes to visit Jordan to figure out what he wants to do with his life, because he's come to this point where like he's getting over Mia. He's getting over her. And in the first episode, I didn't mention that Lance had actually met somebody at the resort that he was feeling some type of feelings that he never felt before. And he didn't feel until he was with Mia. So he was like, he wasn't used to feeling that. So after a while of like grieving Mia and grieving the way he was grieving, there's a lot of things going on. I can't really go discuss it right now because we're on YouTube, so I can't discuss it. If you guys want to watch this limited series, Best Man chapters, you will understand what I'm trying to say regarding like the way he was grieving. It's rated R, so like there's certain points that I can't really talk about. When it comes down to him meeting someone that reminds him of Mia, he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am without her. I don't know what it means when I've gotten over Mia. What do I do in this way? Like, do I just say it's okay? Like, is it okay for her to be gone? Jordan's like, you know what? You have to figure out what that means. You have to figure out what it means, and I'm gonna send you this podcast, because she's been going through this little spiritual journey of her own since Quentin's like wedding, and she's like, I'm gonna send you the podcast that I've been listening to. So she sends him the podcast, and at the end of the episode, this is the end of episode 3. At the end of episode 3, he kind of goes through the fact that he wants to go back into football for some reason. He wants to go back to football. He's like 48 years old in the movie, and I'm like, he wants to go back into football. What possessed him? Like, I feel like he needs to be the coach, which he actually does end up being the coach later on. And I believe it's like an episode. I believe it actually is in episode 4. So in episode 4, he decides to go back to football, like I discussed. And, he's actually playing a lot better than the players on the team. They can learn a little something from him. But, there's like mixed feelings. How everybody else feels like, he shouldn't be on the team. He still got it. He may still have some gas in his tank, but does he really? And we get to the fact that, since we're discussing Lance, let's discuss his son. Now, his son, LJ, his junior, like, we see that him and I believe it's Faith. I'm not sure if it's Faith or if it's his other child. I believe the other child that was left out of this series was August. I was like, where's August? But I did not see August at all. I think August is the boy. But anyway, his other son, Lance, LJ, and I believe it's Faith at the office. They help out with Jordan at her office. They're like kind of like interns, because Jordan is the godmom and Quentin is the godfather. So anyway, Lance wants LJ to follow in his footsteps and become a football star. And LJ can play. He can play football. He's just not as good as his dad. So we see that LJ is going through the bouts of like, does he want to be a football player like his dad, or does he want to do something else? Does he want to branch out from the family business? Does he want to do that? And that's always the I forget the word, but it's always the bad thing basically about being a legacy. Like, do you want to follow in your father's footsteps or your parents' footsteps? Or do you want to branch out on your own? And I think LJ was just right there on that barrier of wanting to follow in his footsteps and branch out on his own. Like, he was right there. So LJ is dealing with a lot in this episode. I believe, is it in this episode where this happens? Actually, I don't think so. I think it's in the next episode. But anyway, he's dealing with a lot. He's trying to figure out who he is as a person. So I'm just going to kind of go through this. Anyway, we're going to go through LJ. LJ, of course, he comes out to his father. He doesn't come out to his father, actually. He comes out to Jordan, because Jordan actually tells him that he can wear whatever he wants in the office. And he comes out, he comes out as non-binary, which is basically he doesn't conform to normal gender norms. So he comes out as non-binary. His pronouns are they and them. He tells that to Jordan. Jordan accepts it. She's happy. She sees what wonderful way he can style or whatever. Because I actually love his outfit. And I'm like, wow, I like that outfit. Shoot, I want that outfit. I want it. But anyway, be married. In episode 3, they discuss how it is to be married. He was telling him how if March had married Shelby, that it would be a lot of back and forth. And he was like, he's really getting old. He has to pop the Viagra pills and everything else, like back and forth, because Shelby got a high drive. And she's not afraid to show it. You know, her she has like, they have like afternoon quickies and all that stuff. Like they have a schedule. So, you know, March is like, you know, it's the opposite for me and Candy. And you would think that because Candy was a stripper and Shelby was just promiscuous, that it would be the same, you know? It would be the same either way if he married one or the other. But it's not. It's not. It's not exactly the same at all. But anyway, we get to Jordan. Let's get to Jordan. Jordan actually meets somebody from, I guess, her past. We never met this person, apparently. He's an ex. His name is Demetrius. Know each other. She decides that she's going to give him a chance, you know? And along with that, she also decides that her show, like, because I believe Robin's like a, is she a producer? An assistant? Something. A marketing exec? I think she's a marketing exec. She's working on this show. A show within a show. She's working on a show and they need another person. So of course she calls her best friend Shelby. Now Shelby is a little extra for her to like real extra. And for her to be on TV, it like the people don't really like the extraness that she's carrying. So there are different demographics that are not appealing to Shelby at the moment. So Jordan has a discussion with her and lets her know that I know a different side of you. Let them see that side. They'll actually respond better to that side. So we see a different side of Shelby, a smart Shelby, a Shelby that's not as extra as the regular Shelby. So that side is beautiful for TV. Hello, we've come to the end of the recap / review of the Best Man final chapters. We've gone through episodes 1 through 4, and in the next video that you'll be seeing today is going to be the episodes 5 through 8. We'll be going over those episodes in the next video, so I'm going to start that one after this one. Okay, bye. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you've made it to the end, congratulations. Let me know down in the comments about what you liked, what you would like to see in the following videos. You guys have a